She was born the night I went missing, in the cold, alone. Rex didn't leave my side. Not even when he had the chance to run. He stayed. He guarded. And when I closed my eyes for the last time, I only hoped someone would hear him bark. The final piece clicked into place. The barking wasn't grief. It was a message. A final act of duty. Daniel's last mission hadn't been about himself. It had been about protecting the tiny life he'd barely met. And Rex, loyal, brilliant, impossible Rex, had made sure that life wasn't forgotten. Later that evening, as the sun dipped low beyond the hills, the puppy lay wrapped in a soft blanket inside the precinct's K-9 office. A nurse who'd attended the funeral confirmed it. Despite the cold, the dehydration, the hours spent in the coffin, the pup would survive. "It's a miracle," she whispered, her eyes glistening. Rex sat quietly beside the makeshift crib, his eyes never leaving the tiny bundle. His usual stiffness had melted away, replaced by a calm protectiveness no one had ever seen in him before. Officers passed by, some stopping just to sit beside him. This wasn't just a rescue. Felt sacred. Amanda arrived then, the letter clutched tightly in her hand. She crouched beside Rex, tears streaming freely. "He knew," she whispered. "He knew she'd need you." She reached out and gently stroked Rex's head. He leaned into her hand, eyes soft, body still. Amanda looked down at the pup, her voice trembling. "She'll grow up knowing who her father was, and the dog who saved her life." Bryant stood nearby, watching it all unfold. "He never stopped protecting," he said quietly. "Even in death." The department decided unanimously. The puppy would stay with Amanda and Rex. She would grow up not only surrounded by love, but with a living piece of her father watching over her. And Rex, he hadn't just lost his partner. He'd found his new purpose. He hadn't barked out of fear. He barked because life still remained. And in that quiet K-9 office, as the first stars appeared in the evening sky, a new chapter began. Not of mourning, but of promise. Because sometimes, the most powerful rescues don't happen in burning buildings or dark alleys. Sometimes they happen in silence. And all it takes is one dog who refuses to stay quiet. The letter didn't end where we left off. After the initial shock of finding the newborn pup nestled against Daniel's chest, after the tears, the gasps, the hushed murmurs of disbelief, Officer Bryant turned the page and kept reading. His voice, still rough with emotion, filled the chapel like a confession. "She was born the night I went missing, in the cold, alone. Rex didn't leave my side, not even when he had the chance to run. He stayed. He guarded. And when I closed my eyes for the last time, I only hoped someone would hear him bark." A sob broke from the back of the room. Amanda, Daniel's widow, stood frozen, one hand over her mouth, the other clutching the edge of a pew like it was the only thing keeping her upright. Bryant took a breath and continued. "I found her in the woods behind the old ranger station. She was just a pup then. Scared, half-starved, eyes full of questions. I didn't plan to bring her home, but she followed me for 3 miles like I was the only thing left in the world. I called her Lillian after my grandmother. She had that same stubborn grace." He paused, looked up. "Lillian?" Amanda nodded, tears streaming. "That was my mother's name." Bryant's eyes softened. He turned back to the letter. "I never meant for this to happen, but when I found out she was pregnant, I knew I couldn't let them take her. They'd already taken everything else. The project, the one they called Hazel, they wanted to use her, test her, turn her into something without a soul. But she's more than that. She's life. And life doesn't belong in a lab." The room fell utterly still. Even Rex, who had been standing guard beside the crib of the tiny pup, lowered his head as if in reverence. Bryant's voice grew quieter, more personal. "If you're reading this, it means Rex found you. And if Rex found you, then you already know what kind of dog he is. Not just a K-9. Not just a tool. A brother. A guardian. The kind of friend who stays even when the world goes dark. Please, take care of them both. She'll need him when I'm gone. And he'll need her to remember why he fights. The final lines were written in a shakier hand. The ink smudged, as if written in the last hours of Daniel's life. I don't know if she'll survive the cold. I don't know if anyone will hear Rex in time. But if they do, tell her she was loved. Tell her her father saw her first breath, and it was the most beautiful thing he'd ever witnessed. Tell her she's not alone. Tell her she has a family waiting. And tell Rex, thank you for everything. Bryant folded the letter slowly, his hands trembling. No one spoke. No one moved. The only sound was the soft whimper of the newborn pup, now wrapped in a blanket and cradled in Amanda's arms, and the gentle, steady breathing of Rex, who hadn't taken his eyes off her since the moment she was lifted from the casket. Later that evening, the town's small clinic confirmed what we all hoped. The pup was weak but stable, dehydrated, cold-stressed, but alive. A miracle, the nurse said, her voice thick with awe. She shouldn't have survived hours in that coffin, she whispered. But she did, and we all knew why. Rex hadn't just barked out of grief. He'd barked because he knew she was still breathing, because he remembered his last command. Protect her. Back at the precinct, the atmosphere had shifted. No more whispers, no more protocol, just quiet determination. The department held an emergency meeting. Within hours, a decision was made. The pup would stay with Amanda, and Rex would remain her guardian for life. She's not evidence, Bryant said firmly. She's family. Amanda sat in the K9 office, the pup asleep on her lap, Rex lying beside her like a sentinel. She reached out and touched Rex's head. He knew, she whispered. He knew she was coming. Rex leaned into her hand, his eyes half closed but watchful. That night I stayed late. I watched through the window as Amanda rocked the pup gently, humming a lullaby I didn't recognize. Rex lay at her feet, one paw resting near the crib, his body relaxed but alert. This wasn't an end. It was a beginning. The next morning, Amanda held a small press conference. Not for fame, but for truth. She read parts of Daniel's letter. She let reporters photograph Rex and the pup together. Rex with his head gently resting beside the tiny bundle, his expression calm, almost paternal. The story spread like wildfire. K9 hero saves newborn hidden in casket of fallen officer. He barked until they listened. A father's final love letter, delivered by a dog. But the most powerful headline came from a local blogger who'd attended the funeral. Rex didn't bark to say goodbye. He barked to say, she's still here. Offers poured in, donations, supplies, volunteer puppy sitters. But Amanda turned most away. She only accepted help from those who'd known Daniel, who'd served with him, who understood what Rex had done. She named the pup Luna, Moon in Spanish, for the night she was born, and because, as she said, she came to us in the darkest hour and brought back the light. Weeks passed. Luna grew stronger. Her eyes opened, deep brown, like Daniel's. She began to crawl, then walk, always with Rex nearby, watching, guiding, never far. Amanda moved into a house with a fenced yard, close to the precinct. She built a small doghouse for Rex beside the back porch, but he rarely used it. He preferred to sleep just outside Luna's nursery door, where he could hear her every breath. One evening, as the sun set over the hills, Amanda sat on the porch with Luna in her lap. Rex lay at her feet, chin on his paws, eyes half closed. She'll grow up knowing who her father was, Amanda said softly, and the dog who saved her life. Bryant stood nearby, arms crossed, watching them. He never stopped protecting, he said, even in death. And Rex? He lifted his head, ears perked, as a breeze rustled the trees. For the first time in weeks, he didn't growl. He didn't tense. He just sighed, a long, peaceful sound, and closed his eyes, because the mission was complete. The bark had been heard, the life had been saved, and love, quiet, fierce, unbreakable, had won. If you were moved by this incredible K9 story, don't forget to like and subscribe. More stories of courage, loyalty, and miracles are coming.